Thank you, thank you, thank you. I told you I was coming right back to talk about the sanguine, the second extroverted temperament. Oh my goodness. I can't point up there and say, look at this video, but you can go down here, I guess, and you can look at the video that I did on the choleric. The temperament, we're talking about the temperament, how I got set free, how it delivered me from me. It delivered me from me. And so this information is so powerful. I did mention in the past video that I just did that it's impossible for me to give you the full course of this topic, but I wanted to give you a snippet to give you some understanding, ladies, that you need to understand how you're wired. You need to understand. You'll stop saying, who am I, why am I, and where am I going? It'll help you understand the type of job, if you're in the wrong space, why you're feeling depressed and bored and hate going to work. You're probably in the wrong space according to your temperament need. Your temperaments are needs and wants. And so before we go any further, you know what we got to do. You already know what we got to do. Let's put it together. Let's get it together. Let's take that hand. Come on, let's take that hand and let's give ourselves a bravo. Woo! Bravo. Come on, bravo. Bravo to you. Can't go further. Can't move on till we give ourselves a bravo. Just because. Just because, ladies. All right, let's jump in. Let's get to the sanguine. If you want the description of what temperament is, if you need the intro of what I'm speaking about, please go and look at the one I did on the choleric, which is the beginning intro of what I'm speaking about. So right now, I'm going to jump into the sanguine. The sanguine, you know what? I can give you just a backdrop. I can just give you a quick backdrop. There are reasons for everything we do as human beings. Though it is often difficult for us to understand why we think like we think, feel like we feel, or act like we act in life, many of the answers for human behaviors can be found in temperaments and personalities. There are 4 temperaments. We're doing 2 today. I already did choleric. You can see it down there. And now we're jumping in to the sanguine, which is the second extroverted temperament. Let's go, ladies. Let's chat. The sanguine temperament is fundamentally impulsive and pleasure-seeking. Sanguines are referred to as the talker. They are expressive in personality, desire influence, and are enthusiastic with people. The sanguine is the woman that walks into the place of the room and says, hey, I am here. Hello. And the whole room shifts because she walked in, right? Now, most people would say, look at her. She thinks she's this. She thinks she's that. She always has to come in and, pull the attention to her. Well, park, stop. Let me tell you why. Because it's a need. Temperament is your needs, your wants, your strengths, and your weaknesses. It's not because she's trying to dominate. It's because she needs people and she needs attention. The sanguine temperament, especially ladies, have a great desire to be loved. That's why sometimes they can go in the wrong places, having different relationships, because they have a need for a certain degree of love. They do. They have a certain degree, just like every other temperament has their pockets and their spaces. So when a person is like this and has this temperament, it's good for them to understand when they're flowing in that thing and they realizing, nope, I did that before. Now, one of the things that a sanguine can exhaust you, right? Because if you have a sanguine woman, sometimes her husband will call her 3-4 times a day and he gets home and she's like, well, you only call me 4 times. He's like, well, babe. So they have a need. They have a need. And let me add this. Temperaments, God has placed the temperament in us. Needs, wants, strengths, and weaknesses, and they will be met. We will meet our temperament either in a godly way or an ungodly way because he wired us that way. We're not responsible for it, but the temperament has to be met. The temperament will be met. Let me go on. The sanguine is sociable and charismatic, generally warm-hearted and pleasant, lively and optimistic, creative and compassionate and outgoing. She is the life of the party. Yes, she is. Humorous, enthusiastic, and cheerful. Oh, yes. She easily attracts others and makes friends. She inspires others to work Oh my God, they don't hold grudges. Unlike the melancholy, the temperament we'll talk about soon, the melancholy, the introvert. Melancholies have a problem and have a difficult time, forgiving people. The sanguine can move on quickly. See how we're wired differently? The sanguine likes to talk a lot, struggles with completing tasks, is chronically late. The sanguine likes to talk a lot, you guys. Sanguine types can be great parents because they love to have fun. They fun people, but their homes might be frenzied and out of control, right? Unorganized. And the only time you find everyone silent is when they are sleeping. Sanguines are always into something, voices, people, company. Let's go out, let's party, they just need it. They just need it. They love luxury and impressing others. Let me add on this particular video that needs and wants and strengths and weaknesses is so very important to us ladies. So very, very important to us, because if we don't have the great information that we need, then we'll find ourselves going around and around in circles, especially in relationships. Here's an example. Let's talk about church. Let's talk about pastors and pastor. Let's just talk about a pastor. A lot of pastors are sanguines. Why, you ask? Because people are there and their temperament is being met, because they have the mic and the temperament is being fed. They're getting love. They're getting feedback. See, temperament's got to be met. They're happy campers. Now, take a melancholy. The melancholy, which we'll talk about soon, is the temperament that you might find them in the pulpit because they've been stretched, right? But mostly you'll find the melancholy at the altar. You'll find the melancholy being that sacrificial friend, that friend that sticks closer than a brother. The melancholy doesn't need the people. The melancholy needs the one-on-one to help folk, to be there wiping the tears. Sanguine ain't got time to wipe no tears, right? The melancholy is going to be there. The other thing I'd like to share with you about the temperament is that the blend. All of us will have a blend, right? But you will have a dominant. If you're a sanguine, you might have a number 25 as a sanguine after you take the personality profile, and you might have a number 15 in the melancholy, right? And then you might have a 10 in the choleric. So there's a blend. So sometimes you might feel confused. Like you confuse yourself because you don't understand how you're wired. You need to understand how you're wired, and then you'll give yourself a break. You won't hold guilt. You'll be able to forgive yourself for some of the things that you might have done that you're not happy about. I'm telling you, this information sets you free. It sets you free. It allows you to be. For instance, you could have a sanguine in New York City at the stock exchange on the floor with the bells and the whistles and right? Everything, people. And then you'll find the melancholy inside office with their computer, with their door closed, doing their work. Don't bother them. They're good. Nothing's wrong with them. Let me tell you about children. Sometimes parents don't understand their children because they don't understand how they're wired. So we tend to label and say, oh, I don't know what's wrong with that boy. I don't know what's wrong with that girl. They never want to come out of that room. They just in there. She in there with her dolls. It's too much. It's just too much. He's in there with them doggone G.I. Joes. And you know what? I got to get them out. They need to get outside in the park. They need to go outside. Now you have children who are very content playing by themselves. But the moment we don't recognize, now, I'm not saying we shouldn't incorporate them being interactive with other kids, but when we start labeling that something is wrong with them because they stay alone and play alone, that's a problem. Because now what you do is take those children and says, go on outside with the other kids. Go out there with your brother and sister in that park. You violated them. You forced them to go around all these people that they really are not ready to go around, or they don't need to. Now, I'm not saying keep kids locked away and let them just be reclusive. No, I'm saying pay attention to their needs and their wants and understand that everyone is wired differently. Our inborn temperament, we're born with these temperaments, right? This is not something we bump into. This is how we were wired. We were wired. Let me read this just to give you a foundation scripturally. Psalm 139. I'm going to pick it up on 13, verse 13. For thou hast possessed my reins. Thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. You were made, designed, created. Everything was placed in you while you were in your mother's. God created you, called you before the foundation of the earth. Let me keep moving. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. Listen, 15. My substance was not hid from thee. It was not hid from thee. When I was made, where? In the secret place. It was the secret place that God designed you. It was the secret place that God put all these things inside of your mom, in you, in your mom. Each person has an inborn temperament. It never changes. You just grow into the behavior of it, and you begin to learn your strengths and your weaknesses. It says, and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Let me end it with 16. It says, thy eyes did see my substance, oh my God, yet being unperfect in thy book. All my what? Members were written, which is what? A continuance were fashioned. You were fashioned. Oh my God, I get excited. You were fashioned, and as yet there was none of them. Let me tell you something. Your temperament, understanding how you're wired, will set you free. It will allow you to make a mistake without you feeling guilty. It'll cause you, with the understanding of how you're wired, to forgive yourself. It'll help you choose that next mate. And you go on a date, and on date 3, he's already violating you. You got to have these red beep, 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 got to go off in you, sister. The beep, 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 got to, don't go over there, because you now understand you're accountable. When you get information about your temperament and knowing how God wired you, let me explain to you. Your temperament also is impacted by environmental impact and learned behavior. Where you grew up, what type of culture was in your home. Take, for instance, the sanguine, and we're talking about the sanguine or the choleric. They are both extroverted temperaments. They may have a little more peace and calm in them and not be all over the place, flowing totally out of the choleric temperament. They may have been in a home where people were there. There was they had parents who were very sensitive towards other people, right? So that impact will rub off on all of us, depending on our environment. And so what I want you to understand is environmental impact and learned behavior impacts our behavior, right? If you were born in the suburbs and I was born in the hood, and I am a sanguine and you are a sanguine, or I am a choleric and you're a choleric, our behavior might be different, but our needs and wants will be the same. Why, you say? Because our learned behavior causes us to respond and act and to survive and to work in different places because of our environmental impact. But guess what? On the inside, we're still alike. We're wired alike. Our needs and our wants are the same. Take that right hand now. Come on. Give yourself a bravo. I want you to get out of your own head. I want you to don't rent space in other people's head. Don't allow people to size you up and tell you who you are, what you need, what you don't need, what you did, what you didn't do. I want you to get a handle on who you are and whose you are and why you flow the way you flow, which allows you to take off layers of pain, layers of hurt, layers of dysfunction, layers of betrayal. It will allow you to move forward. It will allow you to be free from you. Please, I know that I can't give you the full course because I just have to do a live and just stay on for an hour or so where you can put some comments in and we can chat back and forth, and maybe I'll do that coming up next week or something, right? But I wanted to give you some snippets. I wanted to empower you, inspire you, encourage you. I wanted to build you up. I want you to raise the bar. I want you to have a new checklist for what you're going to do with dating going forward. I want you to realize that you may be with someone who's constantly violating you because they don't understand how you're wired. And you may be doing the same thing because you don't know how he is wired. We must understand the difference and the differences how we're wired, right? Because we violate people. We want them to be and do, especially women. We want you to do and want him to do. He didn't do this and I expected him to, and I did it for him. And no, kill that. Stop it. Stop that. Please stop it. Stop it. You don't understand the need and wants totally of what a person, because remember, everybody has these masks on. I'm at 15 minutes. I'm at 15 minutes. I did it. And so I'm getting ready to sign off. I'm going to see you soon. The next thing I think that we're going to be talking about, let's see, what are we going to be talking about next? Stay tuned. You'll find out. And trust me, I'll get to do all the lines and all of the pointing ups and all of the scrolling things, right? If you'd like to cash at me, I can say that. Sheila Ingram, #2 at AOL.com, right? You can do that. Zelle at Sheila Ingram, #2 at AOL.com. I guess I'm supposed to say that. But what I'd like you to do most of all is like, share, and subscribe. Would you do that for me? Would you like it with a thumbs up? Huh? Would you share it? And would you subscribe? Thank you so much. Let's put it together. Bravo to you. Remember, when nothing changes, and we have to keep it moving. I said, get up from that broken place. Get up and keep it moving. If you're crawling, you're making a move, but get up from that broken place and help a sister. Just pull another sister up. I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.